Okay, so Alice is here, so we're good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good now.
4 and 4, so we're good. Lots of empty chairs.
Alice, you made us have one.
Yeah.
Yep, you're our hero.
Wonderful. So we'll just wait until Jen pops up on the screen and we'll add her. Yeah. We're good.
That's helpful. And then the guy, the former guy.
Show the road here.
Well, because he didn't make it. It was bad. But that's been my whole year. They've had open territory.
Yesterday we had a call, it's just 250.
I know.
That's the only support any of these customers have had, so they're like,
Where did those go? And why?
hey, thanks for being brave with us.
Yeah. And if we don't get to
Yeah, right. Could be a long day. Oh, man, this was so shared. No.
okay.
Not actually quicker. Still gotta call those other names.
I'd like to call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for May 12th, 2026. First item tonight on our agenda is roll call.
Barraza, Lancy,
Here.
Beck, Malay, Malone, Solfa, Wolf,
Here.
Barron, Lehman, Lohman, Pieper, Fehrenbach,
Here.
Anderson, White.
Here.
That's 8.
We have the necessary quorum to conduct business tonight, but just barely. And I did hear from Alderman Barron, she's probably should be calling in. But Rob and Abby, Leah, Dustin, and Matt are not going to be here tonight. Okay, up next is a reminder for anybody that comes up to speak tonight to adjust the mic up at the podium. Make sure you can see the little green light on and you can hear yourself in the background. That way everybody that's watching can hear you. Up next is item 3, items removed, added, or changed. Do we have anything?
Can we add a executive session for the purchase of real estate?
2 minutes.
Seriously, 2 minutes.
I just wrote 2 minutes down. Okay. We'll need to amend the agenda to add an executive session.
Motion to amend. Second.
Motion second. Solfa and White. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries, so we'll add that executive session. Back to the regular agenda, we have item 4, which is matters from the public for items that are not on our agenda. Is anybody here tonight for anything not on the agenda? Okay. Move on to the consent agenda.
You know, you take over for my fellow Ward 1.
Sure, you can take care of that. Alderman Solfa will read the consent agenda for us.
All right, the consent agenda reads as follows. For approvals, Resolution 2026-59, amending Title 8, Chapter 1 of the City Code related to renewable generation facilities. Ordinance 2026-17, amending Title 8, Chapter 1 of City Code related to renewable generation facilities. Resolution 2026-60-R, authorizing loan forgiveness to Water Street Studios for the loan year commencing March 14th, 2025 through March 13th, 2026. Resolution 2026-63-R, accepting a plat of dedication at 200 North Van Nortwick Avenue, Batavia Public School District 101. Resolution 2026-61, authorization for execution of a contract with Alliance Contractors, Inc. for 2026 Bridge Preventative Maintenance Project. Ordinance 2026-21, variance for building addition and front porch encroachment at 706 Chavanaugh Trail, together with Resolution 2026-65-R, grant of subdivision variation at 706 Chavanaugh Trail, Kelly Dislin and Julie Gonzalez applicants. And Ordinance 2026-19, variance for percentage of facade as garage at 1303 Killian Drive, Scott Marchetti applicant. And that is it for the consent agenda. And if there is no discussion, I'll make a motion to approve it as read.
I'd just like to make one very quick comment on 5.1 and 5.2, the change to the renewable generation facilities. I'm excited to see this because it's increasing the capacity for both residential and industrial, commercial folks, we can generate more solar power, and that's an exciting addition. I just wanted to make that quick comment for folks at home.
All right, with that comment, I would renew my motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
I'll second.
Motion by Solfa, second by Malone. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ben, do we have your mic? Alderman Barron, do you?
Looks like we're muted.
We might need to turn it up.
We need to turn up the volume.
Yeah.
Technical second, I just want to make sure that she can hear us and we can hear her.
It's giving us time to get to the 7:05 PM time frame. I can hear you.
Try now, Alderman Barron.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
We
we
can
can
hear you now.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to the regular agenda. Item 6.1 is a public hearing for the annexation agreement for 02 South 020 Deer Path Road. I will open the public hearing.
Yes, this is part of our continuing efforts to annex the island areas that are surrounded by the city limits. This is an annexation agreement we negotiated with the one property owner who recently built a relatively large home in that area. We worked out the terms of the agreement on this that are very similar to the other agreements we've had in regards to grandfathering anything that is, was allowed under the county regulations, making sure that there's, certain requirements for connection to city utilities if they, get into a situation where we need them. But again, it's a brand new home, so it's unlikely that's going to happen anytime soon. There is some provisions that they are considering to maybe subdivide the property at some point in the future for some family additional lots. And there are some provisions in there where they would amend the agreement if that should happen. So it's a relatively standard agreement that we've had that you've seen before. So this is that annexation agreement, and they've agreed to the terms that are in the agreement.
Yeah, I just saw in there that if they were to subdivide it, it would be at R0. Do we retain the capacity to do an R1 if we wanted to, or if somebody else came in and wanted to do R1, could?
You would have to amend the agreement to do so, because everything else in that area is R0 right now. So everything surrounding it, all the Tanglewood is all R0. So it'd be a little bit unusual to rezone just that lot.
It would be both a zoning change and an amendment change if we were to change
yes.
it. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Does anyone else on council have any questions? And now is the time when we would take any public comment. If anybody from the public wants to comment during this public hearing on the annexation agreement for Deer Path Road. Okay. If there are no comments, I look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Solfa, second by Malone. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that passes.
We need to vote on the agreement itself.
What?
We need to vote on the
Right,
agreement.
and then we'll
itself.
move on to item 6.2, which is ordinance 2026-018, authorizing execution of the annexation agreement for 02 South 020 Deer Path Road.
So moved.
Second.
By Solfa, second by Malone. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. That has to be on the regular agenda?
It'll have to be on the regular
regular
agenda
agenda.
because it requires a supermajority vote.
Okay. All right, thank you. Up next is 6.3, ordinance 2026-20, amendment to the official zoning map to add a planned development overlay district at 912 Main Street.
Okay. Diane and Andrew Merrick of the Main and Whipple LLC are the owners and applicant for 912 Main Street. They have applied to add a planned development overlay district at the property to facilitate the reestablishment of a restaurant. The property has been historically used as a restaurant since about the 50s. Most recently, it was the Elms. They are proposing to make several site modifications and a building addition. The building addition is approximately 1,000 square feet. That addition will not necessarily add dining area, but it will add an office area, an entryway, ADA compliant bathrooms, and a more modern kitchen facility. So there's no additional, I guess, square footage added to the actual dining area. They are proposing an outdoor dining seating area that's going to be a patio. There'll be privacy fencing added to the overall site, both to the south and to the east for the existing residential. As part of the overall improvements, they are adding a rather robust landscape plan that was included in the packet to the property. That includes both shrubs, ornamental grasses, perennials, shade trees, and evergreen trees. So aesthetically enhance the West Town area. As part of this planned development, they are seeking approximately 7 deviations from the code. Most of those deviations are to address existing site conditions. Staff felt it would be appropriate to clean up those items so that the property is entitled for future use, and they don't run into issues should they need to modify the site configuration in any way. Those deviations, I'll cover briefly. The first deviation is to require reduced interior side yard setback for the trash enclosure location. They're proposing it to have on the southeast side of the parking lot. Presently, there is a dumpster corral in the middle of the yard. They'd have to drive through the grass to get there. It's generally not conducive to current waste removal operations. Staff, based on the location, felt that it would be fitting for that to allow that deviation. The Plan Commission did as well, just so that the trash haulers can get in, out quick without impeding, impeding on other property owners with the lights from the trucks and noise at a longer period of time. The property owner is seeking a deviation from the zoning code's parking table. Most of this is to address, some of the existing conditions on the site. With the building addition, there were additional parking spaces required. The request is for a deviation of 6 parking spaces. However, there are 4 employee parking spaces being provided on the site. So it's really realistically a deviation of 2. Just from a nuance of how the zoning code treats it, it has to be 6 in the ordinance. There is a deviation request for taller light pole fixtures to allow light pole fixtures of 20 feet. In the neighborhood commercial district, we typically require 15-foot tall light poles. Based on the photometric plan, the Plan Commission was satisfied with that. They made a recommendation to relocate 2 of the poles, but they're fine with the light levels at the property lines as well as the pole height. There was a request for light levels at the property line. The zoning code requires a 1/2-foot candle when abutting residential. With the 2 relocated poles, we feel that will address anything that's actually immediately abutting residential. The other areas that needed deviations are actually adjacent to the street. So it's more, again, of a nuance of how the zoning districts align. And then the next larger item that they're requesting a deviation is to allow for 2 accessory structures on the property. The neighborhood commercial district does not allow for accessory structures. Through the plan development, they're asking for relief to allow for the existing garage to remain on the property and one of the existing sheds. We see this as a cleanup item, and staff supportive of the requests. The Plan Commission was supportive of all the requests. They spoke in length regarding the parking deviations. They just even contemplated land banking, and at the end, they felt that both the conversations amongst themselves with staff and the applicant, that it was appropriate to grant the relief, and that staff will monitor on-street parking conditions along Whipple Avenue. And should an ongoing issue exist after a certain amount of time, we will reassess that, and if necessary, impose parking restrictions as deemed necessary by the Public Works Department and our public safety divisions. The applicant is here, and I believe would like to say just a couple words about their business model, and then I'd be happy to go into any questions that the council may have.
Hi, I'm Diane Merrick. I'm the owner of the property along with my husband. We live in Geneva. We raised our kids in Geneva and spent a lot of time back and forth between Geneva and Batavia. Our kids went to Marmion. My old second son, Danny, here has been a chef for a long time and has always hoped to own a restaurant in the area. So when the Elms became available, we bought it with the hopes of bringing back a family restaurant that is, you know, a complimentary to the area. We don't want it to be a loud drinking establishment. It's more of a family restaurant. Danny can share a little bit more about his plans. And we're just hoping to open soon and everyone will enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm Danny Merrick. I will be the chef and co-owner, I guess, of the restaurant. I've been driving past that property since high school. I've been working in restaurants since high school. I've never seen any cars in the parking lot since high school, so I never had the courage to pull in and try any of their food. Just from my experience in restaurants, it told me maybe stay away. But I always thought it was the coolest concept to have a restaurant dead smack in the middle of a neighborhood. And then I moved to Oregon for about 4 years, and I lived in Bend, and there was tons of restaurants dead smack in the middle of these neighborhoods. And they were always busy, and I always found myself eating at them and enjoying that rather than going to a restaurant like I worked at, which was maybe a little bit more upscale and spending that kind of money. But yeah, we're just really excited to bring like a family friendly, it's gonna be counter service, burgers, sandwiches, salads, soups, chilies, hand-cut French fries. We're keeping the ice cream window. We really just are going to encourage all the local families to come and support and walk in the summer and enjoy our backyard and have fun.
I'm excited about it. It's a block away from my house. So. And I've been going there. I've been going to the Elms since I was in grade school at Alice
Yeah.
Gustafson. So it's a long-term memory for me.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of people talk about their fond memories from the 90s, 80s, early 2000s, and we're excited to, you know, hopefully be that next chapter there.
I'm excited for it to happen. Alice?
Yeah, I just wanted to voice my support. I'm very excited. The community is excited. We've all been waiting for somebody to revitalize that property, and to hear that it's going to be similar to what it was is very exciting. So good luck to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, echo the same thing. Super excited. I'm just a couple blocks, not quite as close as Alan, but not too far. I was talking with my wife today. We're super excited to be able to kind of walk there with our kids and have some kind of life right there. I'm also pleased to hear that we're addressing some of the issues or concerns, I guess. They're not issues, concerns that came up with both parking. I'm excited to hear in 6 months we'll be kind of reviewing that and revisiting that. I don't think you'll have a problem since everyone will just kind of walk there. I know we plan to walk there, and that you'll have bike parking there as well. That's really great. I even noticed in your schematics that you're naming, or at least here it's the play area, backyard and play area being fenced in is what I saw in the schematics. So I think that lends towards your family-friendly vibe that you're going
100%.
for.
So there'll be the patio area, and then we're keeping that big grassy backyard, and we're going to put like bags and, you know, random
Awesome.
stuff for kids to,
Yeah.
kids and adults and families to
Cool.
enjoy.
Super excited. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very pleased to hear this too, that this is being put together and going to come to Batavia. I had just, before I think maybe they signed the contract to buy this, I had the staff dig into the history of this building as it related to the city, because the Historical Society did a very nice article about the history of the building and who had been the owners of it. And the last owners were there for a number of years, but there was an ownership beforehand that was basically the Friedland family. Now, the Friedlands are a fairly well-known Batavia name, and for a while, almost all of them worked at the Twin Elms, as they called it, and there were two big elm trees right out near Main Street, and unfortunately, in the 1950s, when the Dutch elm disease came through, it took those two trees out. But they cut those down, but the Friedlands brought to the restaurant a couple of recipes that people would drive there from many miles away to get beef barbecue and curly French fries. And all the French fries were all curled, and people would get these barbecues and French fries. And I don't know what they ever did with the recipe. We interviewed the Friedland family when this was all being done, and they said that every day they went over to F&H Food Store, which was up here at Lincoln and Houston Street. And they ordered special roast beef for them almost every day. And they'd take it back to the restaurant, and then they'd cut it all up, and they had a special family sauce that they put on this barbecue to make it, you probably remember some of that, don't you, Alan?
That I don't remember.
Okay.
The ones I remember in there were the Morrisons.
You know, and that's,
The whole-
that,
the whole-
that's,
the
that, they
whole
bought
time,
it
yeah.
from the Friedlands.
Right, when it was a little brown
But
box.
the
building.
Friedlands had kind of a family fast food restaurant, if you can envision that, at this location. So from the pure history of Batavia, I'm tickled the fact that we're going to continue this under the kind of the plans that are on the table here, because this has become a kind of a Batavia institution. And, you know, the old timers in the room like myself, I can remember going there and having that barbecue when I was a little kid, which was back in the 1950s. And it was really quite the place to go. And my family knew the Friedlands, so we'd always go in there and everybody would call you by your first name and everything else. So it's a great thing to see Batavia being able to carry on the Twin Elms legacy with a new owner.
Does anybody on council have any questions or anything on the plan?
What's the name? You got a name for it?
Yeah, it's going to be called the Whip because it's at the corner of Main and Whipple. So the Whip on Whipple.
Nice.
Excellent. I'm excited about it. And we will watch the parking. I've heard from a few neighbors that that corner is historically bad because there's a crosswalk that comes out into it. Main Street will eventually get redone out there to curb and gutter and sidewalks. So it'll be a little different, but that first little section between the stop sign and the west entrance has always been a little problematic when people park right there. So that's one we'll have to watch. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm looking for a motion to recommend to council.
So moved.
Second. Myself, a second by Lancy. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. And that'll go on our city council agenda for next Monday night. Okay, on to item 6.4, which is a presentation on North River Street.
All right, can everybody see the presentation? All right, good evening, council, public, and city staff. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Anthony Isom. I am the Economic Development Manager here with the City of Batavia, and I'm presenting tonight on North River Street and some of the things that we have been working on, some of the things that we have planned, and some of the things that we have put actions to some of our challenges. So the first slide here that we have here is about our gateway arch for North River Street. Many people may have already seen this arch that leads straight to North River Street, which has the beautiful brick road and just a lot of people that gather for special events and all other awesome reasons why they come down. North River Street is one of Batavia's earliest commercial corridors. The corridor historically supported light industrial service and neighborhood businesses. Its proximity to the Fox River influenced early development. And North River Street remains an important connection between downtown and a riverfront. So one of the things I highlighted was what this street is actually called. And I put the pronunciation up there, but it's Vol-Nerf, like voting and Nerf ball. So it's Vol-Nerf. I have been pronouncing it the wrong way for a long time. Shame on me. but that is the pronunciation. And what the Volnerf is really designed for is to be a street primarily for people and no cars potentially. But it's designed to have people come out, gather around, enjoy this town, enjoy being on this particular safe street, enjoy shopping local, visiting businesses, talking to family and friends, but just a place where they can gather. Now, the city decided that they wanted to make an investment into the downtown. And so they decided to invest $2.8 million for the project, which is the Volnerf, in November of 2012. And then a gateway arch was a separate cost of $117,000, which was completed in 2013. Now, this project was actually funded mostly through TIF. And the whole objective here for this particular street, North River Street, Volnerf, was really to bring people and investment to our town. And obviously, all of Batavia is important to us, but today is the center focus is downtown North River Street. And we want to bring people and investment. We want to bring more foot traffic, more people interested in bringing their businesses, touring our community, living in our community, and so much more. We're looking here at our successful businesses that still have the longevity on North River Street. The first one that we have is El Taco Grande, and they are our local dining destination, and they've been here for roughly 35 years, and we're so happy to still have them here, being one of the longest serving restaurants in Batavia downtown. It's always good to be able to know who you have in your community and the pride that you have for these restaurants and businesses. Next, we have Katrina's Salon, who has a personal care service. She's been here for approximately 24 years in Batavia. Glad to have her. Instrument Exchange, specialty retail, approximately 34 years here. Geneva Winery is our newer addition to North River Street, and we're always happy to have them. What's unique about them is that they've used their space as an adaptive reuse to provide event spaces for partners in the downtown. And obviously, we don't have as many event spaces that we can accommodate, but they have been very generous working with groups like Main Street, the city, what have you. And they've been here for a little over 2 years. Then we have Sidecar Supper Club. Many people might know them as having another name, but we're going to stick to the name we have today, and that's Sidecar Supper Club. They are a destination dining experience with Chef Rick. If you haven't been to Sidecar Supper Club, do check them out. Plus, they do some really cool events. But they've been here roughly 12 years in Batavia. And lastly, I want to mention Tusk Thai. Tusk Thai serves a traditional Thai food. Anybody that loves Thai food, check them out. But if you've never had it, check them out as well. Even more of a reason. But they've been out here for about 16 years here in Batavia. This is just a collage to just give a little concept of how things look, how the buildings look, and what we got going on in North River Street. Now, this is 15 East Wilson Street Restaurant Project. Many of you may know that this particular project, this space has been a restaurant for the longest. It was a last Italian restaurant called Thorabella's. And before that, it was Veritas, and then it was Gaetano's, and I'm sure Mayor can tell me that it was other businesses there as well. But for the sake of time, we are going to look at one thing here. The owner, Chad of the Goat, he has the Goat, but he also has now looked at the 15 East Wilson, where he is going to bring a new upscale restaurant project estimated to be about $400,000. Now, we're excited about that because Chad, if anybody has ever met Chad from the GOAT, you'll know that he's very insightful, very creative, and most importantly, he loves his investment in Batavia. And he also has a strong background in bringing business and working with businesses in the restaurant area. Now, City Council approved a grant that will actually help Chad to do major interior work for the redevelopment of this project. Now, this is an historic district, which means a lot of our properties in the historic district need what? TLC, tender loving care, because they're older buildings, but they've been here for a very long time. And so now we got to try and reinvest in those buildings so that we can make sure that other businesses can come to these spaces and move right on in. Now, what was really neat about this particular project is the partnership with Chad, the building owner, Dan, and the city of Batavia all felt as though this would be an amazing signature project for Batavia. From my understanding, it's been a restaurant for the longest, and I do believe that with Chad and his creativity and his love for Batavia, as well as his experience, it would allow for him to bring exactly what this city of Batavia is looking for. Something that would bring community, something that would bring people, and something that would be proud of as Batavia. So we all feel like this could be that signature project that Batavia is really missing. Now, the funding structure is as such. We're looking at $100,000 reimbursement upfront for the permanent building improvements, things that actually will stay with the building beyond if a restaurant was here and left today or tomorrow. And then $50,000 would be paid over the course of 5 years as long as the restaurant remains open and operational. So a total of $150,000. And now the goal to all this, I bring this up to say this. Downtown is very special. We all see that. Our council sees it, our public sees it, and visitors and tourists also see it. But the great thing about it is this is our opportunity to focus more on downtown revitalization. We want to also focus on bringing foot traffic naturally and organically to the downtown so that people spend more time here to really appreciate what we have to offer. And then last but not least, we want to bring economic development into Batavia, opening the doors for opportunity and investment, continued investment. We want more people to come into Batavia to do more with their money, their time, and their families. Now, another project I'm very proud of is our bike ramp project. You can see on the screen to the left, it's right where the Peace Bridge is. So if anybody's been around Batavia, you've seen the Peace Bridge. But the bike ramp project is right in that area next to that parking lot, the Larson Becker parking lot. Now, the whole purpose of the bike ramp project was to solve some problems. Batavia is about solving problems. It's great to go ahead and lean into, oh, what are you really doing in Batavia? What's going on? Or your town is so beautiful. Well, there's still problems that we want to solve. We can't solve them all super fast, but we can solve them. So one of the things that we wanted to do was improve safety for pedestrians, bicyclists, people with strollers, traffic by creating a safer way of getting around town through into Batavia. That was the goal and the problem solver for this project. So it also is going to include future placemaking improvements. So we're looking at a planned large-scale mural, public mural, as an entrance for us for Batavia. It's a sense of place, and that's something that every community wants to establish as a sense of place. Batavia already has it. Next, the city's long-term vision for walkability, accessibility, and riverfront activation. These are the things that we look for to really make people feel comfortable, to feel like they can be prided in their community, to feel like they can be here for no reason. They can just enjoy everything around what Batavia has to offer. So we want to problem solve these areas by saying, how can we make it easier for people to get around? How can we make it more comfortable for people and families? And most importantly, how can we continue moving forward successfully by bringing projects like this to Batavia? Next, we wanted to strengthen our intergovernmental collaboration between the city of Batavia and the Park District. One of the best things that we have right now in our community of Batavia is partnerships and stakeholders. And one of the things that I do believe in is all of us working together to keep Batavia successful and keeping us moving forward. So this was an excellent way to be able to see some shared community benefits coming from partners that are working together because they see the greater good of Batavia. Next, this project was actually funded through TIF number 1, TIF being tax increment financing. TIF number 1 has expired and is no longer here. Now we have also leveraged local reinvestments to improve the public infrastructure. So again, this was a project that was benefited from TIF number 1. Great way to use TIF dollars. Next, support economic vitality by improving access for residents and visitors to do what? Get to downtown businesses. We have a lot of connected arteries here in Batavia, a lot of walking paths. We got a lot of roads. We got a lot of main areas that people come to and from Batavia. We have people coming from Geneva. We have people coming from Aurora, North Aurora, St. Charles, what have you. We're that connected so people can travel through and to our town. But how do you make sure they do that? By having the access points and allowing them to be able to get to our downtown businesses to further support those businesses. Once they're there and here in Batavia, then you figure out how to captivate them and keep them here with different things that they can do, both with family, friends, and just live life in Batavia. Now, here is the North River Street Plaza. Very proud of this project. Got a lot going on with this, but it's another problem-solving approach that the city of Batavia has to take. Why? Because right now, the city of Batavia, particularly on North River Street, we do not have public restrooms. Problem-solving opportunity there, right? So we add public restrooms for visitors in a downtown, for events, things like that. That is gonna keep more people here. So if they're going to drink or they're going to eat, the natural thing is somebody's going to have to go to a restroom for whatever reason. So with that being said, we have addressed a need there. Although the project is not here yet, this is a project that is going to solve a problem. So then we look at creating new public gathering and seating spaces. People love to walk around. I mentioned walkability. But guess what? People have to sit down at some point. What is the opportunity there? Being able to sit down, enjoy downtown Batavia, enjoy the events, enjoy family and friends, all while staying in Batavia. The key is to keep Batavia people here so that they can enjoy, spend their dollars, but most importantly, get an excellent experience. The next thing that this project does is it activates the riverfront and improves the access and landscaping. Aesthetics is everything for people. It helps you feel comfortable, it helps you feel relaxed, and most importantly, it gives you that sense of community. So what we're looking to do is not only solve problems, but we're also looking to solve problems while people see what we're doing. Be comfortable, be happy, and be proud of where they are. Then we want the enhanced pedestrian experience with proper lighting. That's been something that people on this street have really talked about. We need more lighting when it's nighttime. We need some seating, and we need a walkable design. So safety is something else that we're trying to address with the projects that we bring to Batavia. So I'm very happy to see some of these things have been, implemented, and we're working on implementing these things to really make Batavia even greater. And lastly, Batavia has a lot of history, but we're also very creative. So what we're going to do is we're going to use recycled wind turbine material for benches and public art. This should be very interesting. This should be a very interesting thing because we're giving a way to show what we do, show some creativity, show some history as to who and what Batavia is. And not to mention, I'm going to go back a little bit and just say that the public restrooms are self-cleaning. So that is a big deal, state-of-the-art, high-tech, self-cleaning restroom. So we are definitely excited about that, and it will fill a void. Next, we go into our challenges. Batavia is not the only community that has its challenges, but what makes Batavia more unique is how we address our challenges. We recognize them first, and then we put the action into play. So with the downtown vacancies, we understand there are vacancies, and our team is doing exactly what we need to do to address those vacancies. Because why? We want to make sure that we can still bring businesses that are looking to be in Batavia here in Batavia. We want them to not just look and say, oh, I want to be here, but are there spaces for them to go to those properties and say, you know what, I can just move in and ready these properties. So the city continues to do what? We partner with Batavia Main Street to market available downtown spaces while remaining separate from private lease negotiations. Many of you may or may not know, but private lease negotiations, the city does not get involved with. That is between a tenant and a property owner. So we do not get involved with that, but we can work with those different property owners to let them know what our vision is for Batavia and how they can be accountable along with us to bring Batavia to a success point. Next, we have move-in ready space. That's a challenge for us. That's challenge number 2. Again, nothing unique compared to other communities. This is a challenge that many communities deal with. But how do you approach it? The city is developing grant programs to include customized support for larger projects outside of TIF, amongst other grant programs that would directly work with downtown Batavia. So we're creating opportunities for both large scale and smaller scale projects to make sure that our businesses can go into these locations and open their business, and the only thing that they have to worry about is their own operating cost. Next is our challenge with the downtown foot traffic. Now, I do want to say this about downtown foot traffic. Some days there are businesses, like on Mondays, that don't always open. And that's respectfully so. I mean, everybody's got to get a break. Everybody has to relax and be able to spend time with their families. But there's another way to address the downtown foot traffic. And what is Batavia doing? The city is supporting high-impact development, which includes the QT9 software company. Now, what's great about this is it's located right in the downtown, and they are anticipating bringing about 65 employees initially. Not just 65 employees, but initially. That number is expected to grow, and that number is going to be in downtown Batavia. So we should be very excited about that. On another note, we are pursuing a mixed-use development on South Batavia Avenue. For those of you who may not be aware of where this is, it's right where the Batavia's public library is. Used to be a cleaners there, and it's partly, just a big piece of land that we are going to try and get a developer to do something special there as a catalyst project for 31. The other project that we have is on South River Street. And this is going to be a proposed 72-unit affordable housing development in Batavia. It's going to be located at 400 South River Street. Now, what do you think about when you hear housing and people? Housing and people equal what? People come into the downtown, which does what? Increase foot traffic in a downtown. That's our whole objective here. Get people in the downtown, moving, working, playing. So that addresses exactly what we're looking for here. And so these projects, as you can see, are uniquely designed in order to really bring that traffic downtown, increase retail demand, and on top of that, recruit employers and residents to actually spend their time, dollars, and commit to being in downtown Batavia. And this will help spur more business for our businesses. Last but not least, our other challenge is parking perception. Over the years, we've heard there's not enough parking in Batavia. There's not enough parking in Batavia. What do we do? And that's a great question, but it's also a challenge. So the city will be conducting a downtown parking study to determine future needs. Now, what does that actually mean? It means we want to take an opportunity to better understand how parking is currently being used, and then for future projects, what is that parking going to look like? For example, we brought up the project on Batavia 31. We brought up the project that we're having on 400 South River Street, all of which are going to bring more people to the downtown. So what do we need to do? We have to get in position to figure out where we're going to place new parking if that study shows that's what we need to do. So we're trying to get ahead of this thing before Batavia gets really built out by addressing these needs and getting into these studies and really making sure we know exactly how we need to move for our future success. Now, this is just a snapshot of our City of Batavia downtown plan. Now, a lot of what I mentioned in this presentation falls right into the lap of the downtown plan, from the development projects that we're bringing to the bike ramp project, to the North River Street Plaza, updating and making sure that we can get these properties the way they need to be for new businesses to come in and occupy, reducing the number of vacancies. This is what we're working to do. We're making the transitions for underutilized properties and turn them into active mixed-use spaces. We're improving pedestrian and bicycle connectivity. We're encouraging reinvestment in existing structures and adding amenities that strengthen the downtown activity. These are the things that allow for us to do what we do because this downtown plan is still for us a living document. And although we cannot address everything all at once, this downtown plan helps us to put this into digestible pieces so that we can focus on every single thing, giving it the most quality time so that we can address things the right way. We are ready to get Batavia moving in a proper direction for continued success, and we do see a forecast of success for Batavia. So we are excited that we're bringing these projects here in Batavia, and we're excited to be able to bring this to you all, to be excited, to be proud of what's happening, the direction in which Batavia is moving. We're proud of the opportunity to be able to serve the people in Batavia, but most importantly, we're proud to put Batavia on the map as we bring more development, more foot traffic and people, and creating even better relationships with our partners in Batavia. That being said, I want to leave our city council with one thing to just think about as we start to really embark on a journey of really focusing on economic development. And I gotta say, this council has been really supportive to city staff as far as making sure that we can do what we need to do to have what we need to recruit businesses, to keep businesses, and being a resource for us when we need them. So thank you, council, but here is what I would leave you with. As Batavia continues to grow, how do we ensure future development strengthens both economic success and community character? Think about that. Just carry it with you because we're doing a great job. And there's a lot of things I know for a fact we have a lot of eyesores in parts of our community, but rest assured, we are working to get through those challenges. And we have been working very diligently in hopes that things will happen much quicker for everybody to see successful Batavia. With that being said, I am open to questions. I have Laura Newman here, I have Scott Buning, and I have Max. We can all help you answer any questions that you might have after what we include in this presentation.
Alderman Malone?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It's really great. First off, would we be able to have this shared with us? That'd be really great.
Yeah, for sure.
I think having in one spot the successful businesses on North River Street, why they're there, the upcoming developments. It was really great to have it all in one spot, even if I was kind of aware of most of those. This is a presentation, not a discussion, so I'll kind of save a lot of what I want to say for maybe when we have a discussion time. We have a natural pipeline. We have small businesses that every year, 10, 12 of them open in our town, and they don't have anywhere to go because all our spaces are either too big, underdeveloped. If there's a developer in the audience listening, like build small retail space. We have built-in demand every single year. We have 10 to 12 businesses, I forget the number, that want somewhere to go. My question though, again, is any movement on the 25, 27, 29 North River Street building where the Pal Joey's and Herbal Tea used to be? It's been for sale for a long time. Does the city have any updates? Do we know, is that property moving? Is somebody looking at it? Are we going to get somebody's going to care for that building, owning it anytime soon?
Sure. So what I can say, I'll speak on this part and then I have Scott speak on the other aspect of your question. But what I will say is we've gotten a lot of unique businesses that have been looking into Batavia. I'm talking about well-known businesses and restaurants that actually would be looking at acquiring all the properties, but unfortunately with the conditions of the existing properties, it makes it very difficult to basically say, we're gonna make a commitment. The other thing is the property is for sale, but the number is very challenging for many, even those that are established. And so that is another challenge that is almost like a double whammy. So in terms of interest in the property, there's been a slew of interest. Now, in terms of where we are with moving forward with certain type of codes and things like that, I would leave that with Scott if he wants to answer that, or if Jeff wants to chime in on that part.
Yeah, if I may, two things. One relates to the chimney. The property owner is still working to try and get that chimney resolved. She's working on her third contractor now, so unfortunately, they have not come to terms on everything. So we have our last review on this third contractor's proposal, and we're waiting for them to get back to us on that. So it's unfortunate that it's taking so long, but it is a safety issue that we need to have addressed before we really allow a lot of tenants to start moving back in there. So she's aware of it, but we are working on that diligently. The second part is the building condition survey. We had budgeted money for doing a comprehensive condition survey, exterior condition survey of all the buildings in downtown that are significant. And then the second part would be for contributing. We're looking to try and get grant funds for that second part, but we have money budgeted, from this year's budget. We have a consultant that we are just about done with working out the contract details, and so I anticipate that'll probably be coming to you in the next 2 to 3 weeks or so. For contract approval, and then they will be able to get going on that. They think that the initial review and report will probably be 6 to 8 weeks to get that done for all the significant buildings downtown.
Loman?
Question follow-up for Scott. On the chimney situation, when we had this discussion in December, I remember that this was a dire situation, urgent safety concern. We could not wait a couple weeks more for us to do more studies, and it had to be removed immediately. So here we are, half a year later. I hear that you're saying that you're working on getting that resolved. What happens now? Is there a deadline that the owner has to meet? Are there fines that the city, has to place? I'm curious, what happens if this chimney doesn't come down?
Right. Well, right now, the leverage we have is the building is basically vacant now. All the tenants that are in that building have left. So because of the public safety issue that's there, we would not allow for additional occupancy to happen there. So there's a motivation from the property owner to get that done, because otherwise she's not going to get rent for the rest of her space. So that is kind of where we're going to be holding our feet to the fire on that situation. If it keeps going, yeah, we're going to have to talk about doing litigation and legal action, because it is a continuing issue, and she has been making progress trying to negotiate with contractors. The first one just left. The second one they couldn't come to terms with. The third one we think is going to work out as long as they resolve our comments. But it's difficult finding contractors, especially specialty contractors that can do this kind of work, unfortunately. So we're trying to work with the property owner as best as we can, but at some point, yeah, there's going to be a line to draw, and we're going to have to say we're going to have to go to court.
Right now, there's no line drawn. There's no deadline.
Well, since we're still working with a contractor, no, we're trying to work with them, because if they can work that out, then in the matter of a week or two, then they could start to work if everything works fine.
Alderman Fehrenbach?
To be fair, if we were to take a look back, let's say 10 years, right? A lot of this seems, from my long-term perspective, kind of stem from the failure of the One Washington project. Since that project hit the skids, and largely blameless on everyone in the room here, we are the only city in America with this level of wealth that has empty lots like this in our downtown, bar none.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the last part that you said.
From my perspective, we are the only town probably in the country with home prices this high, with residential properties that move this fast, that have had large empty lots in their downtown for this long. We're going on years here, and so in addition to that, as we watch these empty lots kind of persist, then unfortunately we had some owners who they weren't capitalized. It seems, from my perspective, they couldn't necessarily flip the property to something that matched the market, and the concern is that it seems to be cascading like getting worse, not necessarily better, although we are doing some good things that we can do with the plaza, with the ramp. But, again, those are infrastructure type things. I think the plaza will be incredibly attractive. I'm glad we tore down the tin shop. But again, we took 6 years to get there as well. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now, I'm hoping we'll have a larger discussion on this because I think we need to have one across the board. Where I think a lot of people's concerns is like where do we stop, right? And the question is like where do we stop?
Where did we stop?
Where do we stop? Meaning and specifically I'm looking at things like the Challenge Factory, and it has a big chimney right now. Have we looked at that stuff? Are we looking at like the future for that property? Even extending a little far out to things like the dam. You know what I mean? A lot of these things, when you look at them long term over a whole, we have a lot of great momentum. We've done a lot of great things, and we have a lot of good stuff. But the concern is that for this particular area here, what's this going to look like in 5 years, right? And we always want to be positive. We have to be positive. But the fact is, at some point, it's like, okay, to Scott's point about legal action, and they ask for a date, I do agree for some of the stuff we do need a date, right? To say, hey, if this does not change by this date, we will take legal action. We will have eminent domain. It's simply for the public to reassure them that there is an end to where we'll take severe action. That's my take on it.
In terms of taking severe action, I mean, this is private property for people. We've seen what's happened to the north, where now you have a building wrapped in a garbage bag along the river. So let's not get extreme here. I mean, does everybody want the chimney wrapped in a garbage bag now? I mean, there's nobody in there. So I think that they're working on getting a contract done. I feel confident in staff and trying to move that along and trying to get the property owner to comply with what they need to comply with. In terms of empty lots, I don't think that's the fault of anything that has anything to do with what staff has done or what city council has done. And I'm not sure where the bases would be of the opinion that we're the only city in America that has empty lots in their downtown or buildings that are vacant. I think that's somewhat of a baseless comment. I feel that we are moving along the best we can. I think that there's a lot of good buildings in the downtown. I think there's a lot of good things like were highlighted in this presentation in terms of progress that has been made. And focusing on 2 buildings on that side of town and saying that we're a failure, I think is not the way to approach the situation.
Yeah, a couple comments here real quick. We might be quibbling over sort of word choice and all that. I think that both can be true and that we have a ton of potential. We've been saying for years that Batavia feels like it's ready to pop off. We're like ready to kind of hit things and get running. And I think a lot of that goes into the effort and time we've put into thinking about our, the small things like the ramp and the sign and the plaza. But also we do have some room to grow. We know that there's a dilapidated property that if you get me going on the chimney, I'm going to blow my top again like I did last time we talked about it. Sorry guys, I'm passionate about River Street and that chimney. And so I'm going to slow myself down now. So on that, I think one thing that would be useful for us, maybe this is a retreat item or maybe it's sort of a larger city council meeting, but it might help if we as a council had an opportunity to have more of a free-flowing discussion, ways we can support smaller businesses, ideas we might have for sticks and carrots for businesses and landowners. That isn't maybe site-specific, but just we can kind of brainstorm a little bit. And what made me think of that was the conversation between Alderman Fehrenbach and Alderman Solfa there. And also, you'd mentioned there are grants that we are thinking about doing. Correct. I know that one challenge with the boardwalk shops is that it's hard for them to find a space that's appropriate and be able to ramp up a business in time. I know there may be some grant opportunities there. I'd love to explore a little more how the city can help new businesses survive the first couple years and then set them free to fail or survive as the market dictates. But could you tell us kind of what are some of the grant ideas that community development and you folks have kind of been thinking about, and where does that, if we're ready to talk about it at this point, and where does maybe any of that stand?
I'll jump in on that. I mean, with the main one is the change to the Gateway Grant Program, we're going to call it a Downtown Enhancement Program. We are trying to finalize the language on that, but basically what that's going to do is replace the missing TIF areas. So when TIF 1 was dissolved, we don't have a grant program that covers those areas anymore. So the downtown enhancement program would be a substitute grant program that would be similar to the Gateway grant program, but it would be a little bit different. The funding for that comes from the general fund because we don't have TIF funds that we can use for that. And that would pay for, landscaping, building material, or exterior building improvements, parking lots, those types of things that are frankly visible to the public. So that is a program that we're going to have that's going to cover the areas that were in the TIF and any of the other areas that are outside the TIF district that are in the downtown area, because we're trying to concentrate that. So that's going to be one of the programs that we'll be presenting to you, hopefully in the next month or so, once we get the final language resolved on that. I know that Main Street also has a new grant program that they talked about that they're rolling out. I can't remember exactly how much they're giving to each individual business, but they have a grant program that they're going to be doing as well. So we've had conversations with them about sharing resources and contacts for that, and letting them know that there's this program, plus there's that program that's out there. And then, of course, if it's a historic district, there are things like historic tax credits and other types of things that are available that can help make redevelopment projects more affordable too. So there's a few resources that are available that are either available now or with some of the new programs that we're going to be proposing.
I also want to chime in to say that in the past, while we have had information on our website to let people know that these grants are available, in our conversations with Main Street, we found that largely businesses have their heads down and are working their business so hard that they're not actively looking for those type of things. So in partnership with Main Street, we want to put together materials that we can put in the hands of the business owners to say, this is the way that the city and Main Street are trying to support you having your business here in Batavia. So that's also going to be a sort of a difference between the way that we've run the programs in the past.
And I did want to bring up another point here regarding the land that's in our downtown. I cannot tell you how many countless conversations we've had with a lot of developers, both small scale developers and the larger scale developers, that have shown interest in Batavia, and some of which have put LOIs on properties. And for whatever reason, they either A, find that there's something outside of the local incentives that we have that says to them that they can't pursue the project at that time. We've had so many different developers that have proposed things. We've sat down with our staff and talked to the developers, and they look at the properties. Everybody sees it. And I think one of the challenges right now is not just from a local perspective. I think that it's also dealing with global economics. I think it's the just economy in general. And I think developers are trying to figure out where they're going to put those dollars, where it's going to make a lot more sense for them. And I think that at the time, just having the exposure is going to be everything for us. That means we're on a map when they want to talk to us. So we're not far away from the ball. The idea here is to keep Batavia relevant, and part of that is making sure we have these healthy conversations with these developers and making sure that they understand we're here to be developed. This is our land that we have available, and we are excited for a developer to come out and actually do something in Batavia. And they clearly know, because we preach this quite a bit, we tell them, we have our downtown plan. We are looking for mixed-use development. We are looking for commercial retail at the bottom, ground level, and we're looking for apartments up top so we can bring more people into our town, as well as spur more development. So we are getting a lot of people that are interested in Batavia. It just doesn't always come to every public meeting or get to every table to city council. So I do want you all to know there are active conversations being had by developers of all sorts. So I'm excited to say that we are on a map, and we will have opportunity. It just sometimes take a little time and patience, but we're on the map.
Fehrenbach?
Yeah, on that front, so there's kind of two sides to this, right? One is optics, quite frankly, right? To my point you made earlier, when people drive by, like why is this still empty? Like what's going on here? It's a natural reaction, right? If we're truly seeing interest in these lots, if we're truly seeing interest in these buildings, and we're not like crowing about it, we definitely should be, because that generates more interest.
The developers don't want us to make public about that. And
Hey,
it
can
just-
we do it anonymously? Yeah, I mean, we do that all the time as sales. I mean,
we can say we've got more developers looking at downtown properties.
well, I mean, like, for instance, I mean, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just say, why they walk? Why do they walk?
Oftentimes, it is the cost of building and their ability to finance the project are the main reasons.
So those developers typically are not building anywhere rather than Batavia.
Not necessarily. I mean, some of it depends on, what the specifics are. I mean, some buildings have more maintenance and more rehab that are necessary.
That was kind of my
Others-
point. If we
yeah.
catalog that information, it's like, okay, these guys walk because of this. These
Right.
guys, it was internal. It was their issues. They didn't have, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then we have
Right.
data
Yeah.
set. And we can
And-
go
and-
by, look, we had 5 of the 10 that left because of this,
Right. And some of, is the landlords. I mean, some of the landlords are asking, frankly, absurd prices for the rent. And considering that they have to rehab the building and everything else. And part of the building conditions survey, hopefully we'll get some of that in the realm of saying, okay, we're going to triage, and that's one of the things in this program is to triage, what are the buildings that we have to have immediately addressed?
Yeah.
And those are the ones we're going to be going after first and saying, look, we're going to, here's all the stuff, here's your laundry list of things that you have to get done. Here's a time period where you have to get it done, and if not, then we're going to be getting tough. That's the direction from the councils. They want us to get tougher on these things and get these buildings in good shape. So we're going to be doing that. They're going to be screaming, but you know what? It's either that or the buildings keep deteriorating and are not usable.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear. I mean, thank you for all that you're doing. It just, from depending on where our career focal point is, it looks to me like we just have a hole in the sales funnel, and we just haven't identified what that hole is yet.
A hole in what? I'm sorry, I
The
didn't hear
sales
that.
funnel. I mean, meaning
sales funnel.
meaning there's something going on with some of these properties where it's just everything's just just diverting off, right? Now, whether it's the price of the landlord, I'm sorry, the price of the amount of rent the landlord's asking, the price of the building, the condition of the building, the location of the building. I mean, to Tim's point, there's a bunch of information there, right? That it feels like we're not collecting, and I promise you, because this is something businesses do all the time. If we start tracking this stuff, like quantify it, give it 18 months, give it 2 years, you'll have your solution in front of you. You may not like the solution, to the point Scott made earlier, because the solution may be we have to go after everybody and everyone has to scream, but at least we have something to show. We have optics, right? We can say, hey, here's why this land is empty. Here's why this building is unoccupied. Just a thought. And we have a long night, so I don't want to spend, I'm going to be quiet there.
I'll make it quick.
Woman?
You mentioned the parking study. I was just wondering when that's planned for, when we can expect results from that.
Scott?
We have not started that yet because we're trying to get through the building conditions survey and the economic development study first, getting those consultants in place, but I anticipate we'll probably start that in fall.
What was the study you're waiting for?
Well, we're doing the economic development strategic plan consultant, and then the building conditions survey. So we only have capacity to do so much at once, so that'll be our next project.
Okay, and I also wanted to say that I do appreciate you coming here and putting this presentation together. It's nice to see comprehensively what we've been talking about, in our past discussions of our challenges, our successes, and all of that. And I'm glad to see that those things are on your radar. And I also wanted to voice my support for further discussion, as Kevin mentioned, in some type of free flow format for us to just hash out, our needs, wants, challenges, and just have more discussion on it. I think it's really important. Thank you.
Alderman Malone?
Yeah, and real quick, just back on focusing on River Street. First off, the outside events that are gearing up, this is kind of more for the people watching at home and maybe in the audience. Thursday night trivia is one of the most wonderful. That's when I fell in love with Batavia. Packs the street. It's so much fun. The Sidecar Supper Club folks, Melissa, who owns the place, comes out on her roller skates sometimes to serve you food and drinks, and the staff is wonderful and it's a fun time. So go spend time on River Street so that we can have the vibrant spot we want. The farmers market, Sunday night folk music, a whole lot going on down there. Go to Geneva Winery. They have wonderful wine. So that's the sales pitch. The other part of it is that these outside events, I hope the businesses are kind of coordinating with their outside events. I know sometimes there's some friction there. One thing I've heard in past years, it's been a little bit, but maybe some sort of standing working group of the businesses, maybe quarterly or twice yearly to kind of plan out their calendar and so that they don't have conflicting outside events is something that I heard a while back that the businesses may appreciate. And so if there's some way we can help facilitate, grease that wheel to have the River Street folks talking to each other so that Geneva Winery can get in on Sidecars stuff and Tusk can have, serve their drunken noodles, which are delicious, outside or whatever, I don't know. But that'd be a good role for maybe the city or Main Street or somebody to fill in to facilitate that.
It's an excellent point. Appreciate that. And thank you all for the opportunity to be able to speak to you all tonight on, what's going on in our downtown and North River Street. I mean, this is something we should definitely be proud of. And everything that we're doing, even though we're taking these incremental steps, there are bigger steps to make Batavia even more successful. So
Thank you.
One more plug, since we're talking about River Street, just wanted to, and we have a big crowd here, so just wanted to remind everybody, this Saturday, Farmers Market's opening, and it's come meet your alderpersons, so we'll be there from 8 to 12. We'll have donuts, so we hope to see you there. We love talking to you, so that's all.
Batavia does have the best farmers market probably in the whole world, so just a little FYI.
They're going to say best alder people.
Almost 200 different zip codes last year showed up at the market
It's impressive.
during last summer.
Yeah.
Outdoor market had 190, I think it was 195. People checked in from different zip codes while they were at our market. That's huge.
It definitely is. Thank you.
And we'll move on to item 6.5, which is approval on the annual department head reappointments. Jen, got that, or who's going to take that one?
Jen, do you want to do it, or do you want me to fill in for you?
What did you say?
Jen.
Jennifer.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Alice.
Jen.
No, I can go ahead and take it. Thank you. Thank you again. So this is the annual appointments of the city officers and department heads. This is a term that we work on every year. The term is from May 1st until April 30th. And the appointment would be for the city administrator, the finance director, fire chief, police chief, public works director, human resource director, information technology director, community and economic developer, ESDA director, and city attorney. And I know that Laura did send out a summary of some of the highlights and some of the challenges that each of the directors have faced in the last year.
I just want to make sure that everybody, got the confidential memo that was personnel directed to answer some of the questions that came out of our last meeting, why we delayed this. Alderman Lansing?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I know we are going to, I think, discuss this at our retreat. But I know we had some discussion around kind of the formal evaluation of the department heads, what that looks like, and really, how do you evaluate someone? They have to have a job description first. So really, what are the true job descriptions of these different positions specifically for the city of Batavia? Not just from a general sense, but what do we as a council want, to see from each one of these departments or, overall in the future? And, it just hit me as I was driving in this evening that, and not to age anyone in the room, but we have some folks, very valuable folks that will be leaving Batavia, not in the, distant future. And I think establishing something like this, because I think, candidly, I think we've just kind of quote unquote gotten away with it because we just have such great people and everyone's been doing it for so long and we're just off doing our thing. No, I don't mean that you didn't evaluate anyone. What I'm saying is I don't believe today we have a set formal, I haven't seen job descriptions for everybody or a set formal process that we
Send that
go
out
through.
with the confidential memo. I sent out
Oh,
all of
okay.
the job
Maybe I saw
descriptions.
that. Okay. Well, we should relook at those or look at those a little deeper and just see how we as this council would like to see that moving forward. I just think it's good, especially as we start to lose some of the intellectual property. It's going to become much more important to kind of have some benchmark KPIs, call them, or whatever, things to point to say, hey, this is a part of the job description, how is that function of the job doing or whatever, so.
Well, fine, and then Alderman.
Because I'm
Barron.
deathly scared of half of you leaving.
Well, that's a good reason why we've done succession planning and also a organization-wide leadership training program.
Which has been discussed. That's what I was going to bring up. This has all been discussed in great detail before. And, in terms of, I want to make sure that we are not, as city council, starting to micromanage or overstep what we're supposed to be doing. For one, in terms of doing an evaluation of the IT director, I have no training in IT. If my computer goes down right now, I'd have to call my offsite IT from my work to try to figure out what's going on. What qualifications do I have to say if Howard is doing something correctly? Now, as the city attorney, as an attorney, I could probably, maybe do some type of an evaluation, but even there, that's a different field of law necessarily than what my particular field of law is. My whole point is, I don't think that as city council, we should be thinking that we are doing these evaluations of these department heads where we are saying if they're appropriate, inappropriate, if they're qualified, unqualified. I mean, I think that's just getting beyond what the
We're not
scope.
supposed to say if they're qualified or unqualified?
Can
Beyond
I
what the-
offer something that I think would be helpful to both of your discussion? Is that one of the main focuses of the retreat is going to be governance. And I think what you guys are really talking about is where, under governance, does the evaluation of the job of the department heads lie? And I would be happy to put that on the radar because I think the facilitator of this program, she just has exceptional reputation, and I think that she could help you have this discussion about where that line should be.
Because I do believe it's codified, actually, in terms of what the role is and what our particular participation is. So I just was making the comment. I think that maybe we need to think about what our actual role is in terms of evaluations and what we think about what we're doing with annual staff appointments, because, they come recommended, they've had their evaluation done. I don't know what we are supposed to be overstepping. Is what I feel.
I'm sorry, can I make a point of order real quick? Just a point of order is I think we should attempt to not talk over each other and wait our turn, which I think is what you were about to say, Alan.
Right,
Thank
that's
you.
exactly what I was going to say is, we're going to go in order. When Chris is done, then I'm going to go to Jen, who I already said was next. After that, if you want to say something, you can come back.
I made my point. That's all. And I that's it.
Alderman Barron?
Thanks, Alan. So I just want to remind everybody that we do have a discussion that's going to be coming up regarding the evaluation of the city administrator. I think that people have brought up a really good point, and that, initial evaluation for the administrator is going to allow to provide feedback. And I think based on a lot of this discussion and a lot of the feedback, I think I can hear that one of the suggestions that we're going to probably put on as a recommendation to the city administrator is implementing formal evaluations for the staff. So I'm not sure if we really need to have another formal conversation about this, but I think we have an opportunity coming up where we can give that feedback to staff. So they can, make the necessary things. But, I do look forward to having the conversation and rolling out this evaluation for the city administrator, which is definitely something within our preview. And, it's an opportunity for us to, highlight things that we like and, some, changes that we'd like to maybe be seen as far as their performance or things that are going on as far as the city is concerned. Thank you.
Nancy, did you want?
I just wanted to clarify for the record. I mean, and I think I've been pretty clear in the past. I want nothing to do with stepping on staff's toes. I trust staff tremendously, and it's more or less, I was thinking about it as, again, I'm scared with all these people leaving, and I think we're going to need, we're going to have a little different, we're going to have a different landscape moving forward, without a lot of the intellectual property. Some things might not move as well greased as they have in the past or whatever. And for me, it's more of that, And I truly will appreciate wherever that line is from like a code perspective or whatever. Because again, I basically what I want is a boilerplate, right? Something that can be looked at as like, okay, this is what they were supposed to do. This is what's doing. And again, it's a lot of formality, but it's something to point to. It's something, it's data to look at. And I loved what you had sent over before. Rings true. I just want to make that clear. I have no issues, and I don't want to get in the business of, doing the evaluations. That's not where council should be.
Alman?
Yeah, so I had questions about this last week, so I just wanted to thank Laura for providing more information on it. Same as Alderperson Lancy, I did not want to make an evaluation. I just wanted to read more about the evaluation that you conducted, so that was helpful. I do want to remind everybody, since there's questions about what council is supposed to do, what not to do during this process, that if you go to the Batavia Municipal Code, Chapter 6.2, under appointments, it says very clearly that these appointments are to be made by and with the advice and consent of the City Council. How we want to interpret that, definitely we should have some discussion, but to me, I'm understanding that as reading information, reading about measurable goals that you have put in place for these directors and seeing where they're at. Let's see the review. Let's not me make the review, but just read about it and see how they've done in their performance, right? And then council gives our advice as to whether we should reappoint these individuals based on their measurable goals. That's how I understand it. So I did appreciate getting that information. I read through it, and I feel more comfortable now making my decision. So thank you.
Aaron Bach?
Yeah, you know what? I think part of what we're kind of hitting on here is that there's a lot of companies do evaluations in many different ways. I know I've been through many brutal ones. I've been through many easy ones and informal ones. It really just depends. And some of the worst ones are when they ask my clients to review me as part of my annual review, right? And that may be what the ask is here without asking it, but we'll soon find out during our retreat.
White?
I actually just wanted to tack on to what Alderperson Lohman said. The nice thing about having a paper trail and having that review trail is, should we have problems in the future, that gives us something to go back on and be able to move on from said problems. Maybe Max is horrible. If we have that documentation that allows us to know exactly why Max was horrible.
Point of order, Max is great.
Joking aside, it does. It gives us that paper trail that's why businesses use it every single year.
Yes, go ahead, Laura.
Sorry, Max.
So if I'm doing my job properly of providing feedback to employees and managing their performance, it will not come to an appointment process where it will be decided whether they continue to work here or not. I would never let it linger until that point in time. And I think likewise, I don't think it would be fair to an employee if, unbeknownst to them, we come to the point of appointments and they haven't had all of that documentation all along and had been given a fair opportunity to improve their performance, that until that day, they suddenly find out they don't have a job tomorrow. So I intend, in my position, to provide you with information about employee feedback as it happens. And that's the way that we address it within our organization, is as it happens. My experience with, I'm actually really looking forward to getting the evaluation from all of you for my position. I've really wanted that all along, and anxious to hear ways that I can improve. Both Wendy and I have worked in the private sector and organizations that do across-the-board performance evaluations for folks, and rarely do we see it applied equally across an organization, leading to some employee morale issues. So to the extent that we're considering doing that, as opposed to our instant feedback philosophy that we have here, I would just think about what the problem that we want to solve by implementing that is, and maybe there are multiple paths to getting to what the objective is with that. But wholeheartedly, I want an evaluation. I'm happy to, on this annual basis, provide you with a similar document as I did in this case to make that our standard practice going forward.
From my perspective of being here for almost 24 years, the different styles that have been here in the time I've been here have been, something to watch and something to wonder about sometimes. And what I'll say is, I think that Laura put it pretty well. If she's not doing her job, we would be the ones that make the decision on that. Anybody else in the organization that she oversees, it's her responsibility, and that's what she gets paid for. And that's what we should expect from her. And I think where we lost it here this year, maybe even last year for you, Alice, was that wasn't being transmitted. That wasn't being expressed in a way that we felt comfortable with that. I think that's something we might all agree on that I think that's one of the biggest things is we didn't have any of those parameters that came to us and said, okay, here's the 10 things that we look at for each department head. And, all but one were a problem, weren't a problem. So I think that's the biggest thing is to get it in some kind of informational, memo to us that we can have so that we can make the good decisions from that and know that everything below us is where it needs to be. And if there are problems that it's addressed. And, again, I don't want to be surprised, once a year and all of a sudden, boom, we're not going to, keep somebody. Should have known about that the first time there was a problem with it 12 months ago. So I think the information and getting that out to us is one of the keys that I think we have to change. So that's my take on it. Alderman Lowe?
Just a question of procedure. Do we vote on each individual appointment, or do we vote on it all as one block here right now tonight?
The only time it's ever been voted on singularly was when someone had a problem with it. And then,
They voted at the city council meeting.
yeah, it would be at the actual appointment
Okay.
at the city council meeting.
So tonight, are we voting?
We would recommend,
Recommend for approval? Yeah, okay, yeah, so
To city
I'll make
council.
the motion that we recommend for approval the staff appointments in agenda item 6.5. Is that what we
Second.
need to do?
Second.
okay.
Great.
You know what, we'll do a roll call for this one.
Baraza, Lancy, Beck, Malay,
Aye.
Malone,
Aye.
Aye.
Silva,
I am here
Wolf.
too.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman, Lohman, Pieper, Fehrenbach, Anderson, White.
Aye. And no, that won't go on the consent agenda. That'll be on the regular agenda Monday night. Okay, we'll move on to item 6.6, which is Resolution 2026-064R, approving a budget amendment to the sewer capital funds.
So basically this, I know that Andrea can sum it up too, but we have some extra bond money available from the wastewater treatment plant project we've been doing, which there was a nice tour of it last week, so we could see all the progress that was made to see how great and wonderful the new facility is turning out to be. But there were some equipment. There was some equipment in there that was pointed out that was quite old. We have extra funds that are available, so even though it wasn't budgeted for, because we have these extra bond funds, we are able to then get on top of this and get new equipment with the extra bond funds and replace it without having to do a budget amendment per se, because we have the extra money from the bonds. So it's money that's there, and we can fix old stuff and continue improving the wastewater treatment plant.
And it's got to be cheaper this year than it is a year or two from now.
Do it now.
The way prices have been, I think.
And Peggy gave us the go-ahead.
Not sad.
So, yeah, exactly what Alderman Sofa said. And if we waited, it would have to be until we had the next full set of plans, which we're not looking at constructing till I believe it's 2030. So this allows us to replace some of the pieces that are not working, that have become obsolete. I believe most of them were the 1970s
That was
vintage.
the 50s, I think they even said, like old stuff.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that just we haven't gotten around to, and as we're getting into new pieces and new phases, finding things aren't working as the way they should be. So this is an interim, and the next item is the task order with Trotter to do the engineering, and in that includes the cost estimate for the engineering, a contingency, as well as the capital infrastructure. So that's where the 2 million comes from. I kind of just gave a little bit extra so we don't have to come back. So anybody have any questions?
Anybody questions? And Trotter's been doing all the work, and they've done a great job, so I see no reason to change from them now.
I will just say, after going on the tour, we got to give it up to our water department and using some of the equipment. I mean, Alderman Solfa mentioned it, but we got equipment in there from the 50s. We had electric motors in there, 3 or 4 of them running since mid 70s, and these things run like basically constant. So tip of the hat to that team and all they do over there, because you know, they worked with what they had for a very long time, and now they have something really that they can be proud of. So more than happy to hopefully get these replaced at the cheapest cost possible.
I'm glad that those of you that were able to attend got to meet Zach. He is phenomenal.
His name.
Yes, him and his team, they're phenomenal, the wastewater guys. And Michelle, who's a lab tech with Mary as our admin over there, they do a great job. And Zach came from Fox Metro, so he had seen a lot larger things, some newer things, and always has that innovative side. He's very active with the wastewater stuff, the Fox River Study Group. So he's up and up on all that's going on. And
A good teacher, definitely learned a lot about
He knew his stuff.
stuff that you don't really want to know about what happens when you flush the toilet. But
he's very excited about what he does.
so with all that, any other questions, comments? I do a motion to approve Resolution 2026-64R, approving a budget amendment to the Sewer Capital Fund.
Second.
By Solfa, second by Lancy. All those in favor?
Aye.
And then any questions about Trotter, the next one? If not, I'd do a motion to approve Resolution 2026-62R, Task Order Number 26, Biologic Process.
Second.
Motion by Solfa, second by Lancy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Did we get Jen to vote? I didn't hear her.
Aye.
There we go. There you go. Thank you, Jen. All right, then we'll move on to item 6.8, which is the discussion on Randall Road pedestrian crossing study update.
I am going to take this for Tim. Tim is at the high school, senior honors. So I told him that was much more important than being here. So just wanted to bring back to you guys a summary of what came out of our discussion with KDOT. We gave them the plans for the crossing. If you recall, we came here with Strand earlier this year to kind of show you the different options for doing a pedestrian crossing, both over Randall and under Randall near the Main Street intersection. And I know there were lots of concerns for looking at going north of Main Street because that's kind of where everybody crosses. So we sat down, we're finally able to sit down with KDOT at the beginning of April, and they pointed out some things, and I can't say that we disagreed with them, but some of the options just weren't fully taking into consideration all the land. If we wanted to go north, KDOT's future ultimate build out is 6 lanes, 3 in each direction. I don't know how soon that would come, but putting a permanent structure, as we were discussing, kind of impedes and goes into that space. In addition, the cost of these, sitting down with KDOT staff, they're very well versed in intersection improvements. They mentioned to us that an intersection improvement costs $4 million to rehab a whole intersection, and the structure in itself was $4 million. That the warrants, even though this is in their plan, are on the very low end and not even really at that area where KDOT would, or IDOT would look at requiring something like that. So we thought there's this SS4, Safe Routes for all grant. The application is due May 26th. We still have some funds left in our contract with Strand, and based on those conversations and the recent traffic incidents along Randall Road, we want to look at maybe at-grade improvements for pedestrian crossings at Wilson and McKee, and potentially Maine as well. But just wanted to get your blessing if you guys were okay with putting on hold right now ramp structure. KDOT really they were okay if we went underground as long as there were no drainage structures, or if there were, we would be the one maintaining like a sump pump. But looking at doing some positive safety improvements, again, at grade at some of those intersections at Main and north of there, opposed to looking any further right now. And as I said, we wanted to bring it back and get your blessing before we gave Strand the okay to spend the rest of the budget, or I should say, spend some of the rest of the budget. It may not be all of it, to at least help us. We've heard this is a heavy lift to apply for this application, and we would gratefully, we're grateful for their experience and expertise on this information that could help us.
Want to start? Alderman Fehrenbach?
Yeah, not so much a question, but I think for some people, I think it's important to get as much good done there as possible. For those who may or may not be parents of teenagers, they go run across Randall Road like you would not believe. Whether they're going to spend the day at the Target, which I can't believe was a thing when I first heard about it. I'm like, you spend the day at the Target? And going to all those shops right there. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic, a lot of bike traffic in that area. And if the difference is we get something done in 2 years versus 10 years, I'm all for doing something now.
Wait.
Very similarly, I had real challenges with the pedestrian bridge located all the way down at Main, where there wasn't as much traffic and not as much things to connect to. So at street level improvements further up that chain, I'm all for it.
And the more I thought about it and drove around in the Chicagoland area and saw underpasses in different places that have been there for 50 years along 64 and Elmhurst and Lombard. I mean, there's a lot of places that they've been there forever, and they got to do something about the drainage, and yet they seem to stay there. And I think maybe thinking about it differently, if we can do something that gets us through the next couple of years so we can afford, or Kane County and the state can help us afford to be able to do a real true pedestrian crossing that doesn't interact with traffic, then that may be the best way to do it.
Ellen, I've had many conversations with the county and the state about this particular subject. And right now, I think the big issue on the table is probably the lack of federal money that is now not available to do stuff like this. So we can continue to think about it, but I would not want to say to anybody here tonight that we're going to do this and it'll be built within a year. At the beginning,
I'm talking about doing temporary improvements to at-grade crossings.
Right. Yeah, I'm talking about putting up ramps or overpasses or whatever. The county, had plans to rebuild our intersection at Batavia Avenue and Fabian right there by Campana and the Homestead. And that was on the table to be done this particular year. Well, they've had to take it off the table because the money did not come for it. So there's just a lot of stuff like that going on. And so I think we should keep it in focus and be ready to talk about it. But right now, the money situation is not there to do it.
I just wanted to clarify what I was understanding. So you're proposing that we put on hold the Randall Road pedestrian bridge project idea and use the money that we had set aside for it for making at-grade safety improvements along Randall?
No, right now we had money budgeted to do an investigative preliminary engineering. Those were the drawings that were presented. There was still a little bit remainder of that budget. So with that, we were going to have Strand assist us on this application, since they're knowledgeable on all of these things as opposed to using our grant writer. And then we don't have any money budgeted for the actual design engineering drawings at this point. That would be coming in the next budget year if the timing worked out. So this is just to apply for that grant. And then we could also look at if we feel the grant funding isn't there, or we want to continue, we'll work with KDOT and consultants to work on cost estimates to help us prepare budget items to continue moving forward with this.
Continue moving forward with this pedestrian bridge?
No, with, we're going to put on hold the pedestrian bridge as KDOT. We have to get buy-in from them. And, you know, one of the items that they mentioned at going further north along Randall Road is that the ramps going up are going to block the visibility of the businesses. And, you know, they shared a big concern with economic development there and having all these big boxes and not being able to have their signage there. So trying to come up with at-grade crossings while the count is still low to improve that and still be able to get people on both, move them safely. Max, did you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I put up on the screen, Chief Hansen and I served on the Kane County Safe Streets for All Steering Committee. And there was a lot of feedback, public meetings, surveys, that kind of came to a idea of what could be done on Randall Road. And this was something KDOT participated in, a bunch of organizations through CMAP. There's a lot of things in this conceptual idea beyond just the ramp or a bridge. There's lighting improvements. I mean, some of these sections of road, I think between Main and Wilson, don't have streetlights on there. Those are things that we know improve safety and visibility at nighttime and all those things. Only one side of the street has sidewalks. That makes it so more people have to cross. There's things like potential protected left turns, widened crosswalks, leading pedestrian intervals, all things that could be considered. I would assume that Strand is going to look into some of these or try to apply for some of those, but there's a lot of things here besides the bridge that will and can improve pedestrian and driver safety as well.
That's great. I mean, I am in support of doing, as you know, the alderpersons here have said, more improvements to make it safer to cross Randall Road. I was just curious as to what that meant to putting that on hold. I'm not saying that the bridge is the one and only thing, you know, I want, but it would be nice, as Alan said, to have that down the road. And I'm just curious as to what that means when we put it on hold. Does that mean we reassess it next year? What does that look like?
I think it'd be a little bit longer than a year, maybe, you know, at least 5 years at the, I don't see the counts being that high. So we got, I think, in between 5 and 10, maybe 15 at the peak for the number of crossings. IDOT's minimum is 40. So we are well below that threshold. And that's also what's kind of steering KDOT to say, you know, you do an entire intersection improvement if you're doing turn lanes and widening whatnot for $4 million. You're putting in this structure for $4 million and you're only affecting 5 or 15 people per hour, whatever it may be, as opposed to the volume of traffic that's going through that intersection daily. Just doing stuff of that nature is, I guess, what you could say better bang for your buck at the moment, and it would be enhancing safety as well.
Were those counts per hour? Is that what they were? That they were? Oh, I heard Laura say yes.
I have to double check, but yes, I think that's what it was. So it's very, very minimal.
Got it.
First on the bridge, I mean, I guess if we have to push it out, we have to push it out, but it's definitely, if you build it, they will come, right? Like those counts, I wouldn't put too much weight on there. More people will cross if there's a safe way to cross. We know that from everything, but that's beside the point. I think I got a little confused somewhere along the way. So we want to take the money that we've given to Strand and redirect what they're going to do with it to apply for a grant. What do we get? What's the grant for?
For the, we'll be applying for preliminary engineering design work.
The engineering design work. Okay,
Yes.
so we'll then get, if we get the grant, we will then get the engineering design work for the traffic, for the at-grade improvements. Is that right? Okay. Also, an advantage to a bridge is that it might make KDOT rethink 6 lanes on Randall. 6 lanes on Randall is a very bad idea that I would oppose all the way up and down everything. And I know they have right away, and I know they could do what they want to do. Like, I get it. But like, I think that 6 lanes on Randall just sounds like a death machine to me. And, you know, I'm going to put that out there that I would do whatever is in my power as one tiny little alderman to fight that.
Just wanted to point out in my conversation with the head of KDOT, he mentioned that if there was a bridge, it would have to accommodate for the expansion to the 6 lanes, so.
And that is something that's in their plan, while I know there's a lot more jurisdictions to the north of us that have that. And it might even just be for a stretch for an intersection where you need the capacity at the intersection to widen. It still needs to be there.
And interestingly, as you're heading north, you're heading in out of South Elgin into Elgin, you go under a pedestrian bridge, then into 6 lanes of traffic, right? Once you hit that sort of McDonald's, Best Buy, leading up to that Portillo's up the hill, you've gone under a pedestrian bridge that then turns into 6 lanes. But that's KDOT and future us problem, because I also do agree, makes more sense to address the Randall Road we have today and redirect those funds to see what we can do to make it safe next year versus 5, 10 years down the line or whatever. So
Just
I
one
do support
other
that.
tidbit of info that we learned from meeting with them. KDOT has looked at the stretch of Randall Road and looking at crossings, and so they pretty much have them kind of spaced every 5 miles, give or take. So there's a one at Silver Glen, there's one at Dean Street, just north of North Avenue, then there's one at Kesslinger Road, and then this would be the next one going south.
Thank you for the update, and
Okay,
I
so we will-
didn't hear anybody say no to the.
We will move
the
forward
redirecting to
then
try to
with
get
that
the grant
application.
money.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to 6.9, which is discussion on the Batavia Access Toy Drive. Laura?
I can start this out. For many years, dating back to the time when the city acquired the First Baptist Church property, the city has provided a space for the Batavia Access Toy Drive. And many things had come to pass that caused the toy drive to need a new home. First, it was the One Washington Place project, and we were having to demolish the First Baptist Church building. Thereafter, we were lucky to receive the offer of some free space within some vacant BEI properties. Thereafter, the First Methodist Church came through with a space for them when there wasn't room for, BI didn't have any free space that they could provide for us. Actually, before we moved to the Methodist Church space, the Sam's Club was vacant. Part of it was being used as the vaccination center during COVID, and we were able to, in a part of that structure, store the toys for the toy drive there. And once that property developed into the Tesla dealership and the self-storage, it was around the same time that we were looking for new homes for the food pantry and clothes closet. And although we found the ideal space on 916 First Street, in the interim, we had considered purchasing the Webster Street property and decided that although that was not a good fit for the food pantry, that it was something that we would like to be in the driver's seat on future development of that property. As part of the sale of that property, the owner was willing to put $200,000 in escrow for us to do remediation work. So of the $700,000 price tag, we got $200,000 in order to complete the remediation. There's a very large underground storage tank that was found on the west side of the building. It is so close to the western wall of that building that removal of that tank is going to necessitate having to demolish both of those properties, and one of which is housing the toy drive currently. So unfortunately, we have come to the end of an era of having city-owned spaces or under the control of the city or being offered for free spaces for the toy drive. And I think we need to determine what to do next, because renting a space for the toy drive is probably going to, cost us in the neighborhood of close to $200,000 per year. They're occupying a space that's 7,000 square feet right now. And so that estimate that I use is what the city paid. We only paid half of the rent for a place on Redant that was 7,500 square feet, where the food pantry had 1 year where they needed a home while 916 First Street was being renovated. We are currently assisting the Batavia Access Toy Drive to get their 501c3 status with the city attorney and supporting them financially and being able to move in that direction. But we are having to demolish the building this year because it is located in TIF 3, and we are able to use TIF 3 funds in order to complete the remediation and demolition necessary to market this property to a developer. And so that is kind of the current status. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have for me, but looking for direction here on what ways that the city could see supporting Batavia Access in the future. Scott, did you want to add something?
Yeah, just in regards to a timing issue, with the proposal of TIF 7, that would truncate TIF 3 on the east side. And if we're going to do that, it's likely TIF 7 would be created in January, and TIF 3 on the east side would be ending there. So we have to spend all those funds to demolish that before that time. So, and we're kind of in a timing issue as well.
And then the other thing is that tank that Laura had mentioned, we got an extension from the state fire marshal that came out and kind of said, well, try and get it removed within a year. So if we don't get it removed, we're going to have to work with him and try and figure out what the necessary steps are. But as Laura mentioned, that tank is right up against the foundation of the building. So it does need to come out, and we have till about November. So all the timing kind of works out where we could have it all cleared using the TIF funds.
The toy drive has been made aware of all of this. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that and the timing, and they're expecting to need to move to something else sometime in the mid-year, summertime time period. And so one thing that we can do is, appeal to the public if somebody does have available space that they are able to offer the toy drive for free.
Sorry, I've been talking a lot today. Yeah, that was one of my questions, Laura. If there have been conversations with other nonprofits or community members that have space that they could partner with to house these gifts, these toys, that was my first thought, if that has happened or if we can help market that to make that happen.
It's not typical that not-for-profits have 7,000 square feet of empty space that they aren't already programming themselves. It would be likely to be a private property owner who is able to, give that gift of that space to them.
I remember that when we discussed that space and what was housed there, it seemed like it was years and years of things that continued to pile up that weren't necessarily for that year. So I don't really know if they need 7,000 square feet. I think it would be good to have a better understanding of how much space they really need, right? It seemed like they had a lot of things that they didn't need, that were moldy and whatever you guys were talking about, the conditions that were poor of these items that were being held. But that was my first thought. If we could reach out to nonprofits that also have programs like that. I know there's several in the area. And
Have reached out to United Way, and they were not interested in partnering. Their Adopt a Family program runs in a very different fashion. One of the challenges for our toy drive is that they are getting donations weekly, and a pretty large amount of weekly donations. And so that's the need. I've shared pictures of what it looks like, and it's only May.
Right. Right. So just having a better understanding of how much space they actually need.
Okay.
And then the other thought that came to me is during this transition, is it possible for the city to help, I don't want to say 100%, but is there any amount that the city could help fund for the first year as they transition out of our building? I would hate for the public image and also just not helping our community, right? Like this toy drive has been a part of our community for 60 some years, Mayor. You mentioned this before, it's been around for a long time. So I would just hate for us to say, well, we've had discussions and you've known about this for a few months, but we have to demolish the building now and good luck. So I just would like to know if there's any way that we can help fund the transition. I don't know, set a timeline, something. Is there a way we can help with it?
Ehrenbach, go ahead. Oh, Chris, let's you first.
Okay, so I do agree that they do not need that much space, because I've seen some of the things in terms of what they have. They also need to, I understand the donations they get on, weekly, monthly basis. They need to restructure their organization in terms of the way they're doing things. They don't need everything, they don't use everything, they never do. It goes to waste. That's my first thought. So they can probably get away with, think of like a regular house. So you're thinking 7,000 square feet. Geez, a big house is 3,000 square feet. You're talking two and a half houses of a regular family stuffed to the gills with stuff. They don't even hand that much stuff out. That's number one. Number two, I cannot in any way approve of having us fund something where we're paying for storage space up to, let's say it's 7,000 square feet for $200,000. Why don't we just take the $200,000 and help the citizens out for free then? It kind of defeats the whole purpose here. So I think that hopefully they can find some place that is smaller. Maybe go appeal to the new storage place where the Sam's Club was and ask them if they're willing to set aside a certain amount of space. But I think maybe they got to recalculate down to maybe 2,000 square feet at most, and maybe recalculate the way and reconfigure the way they accept donations. They don't have to accept everything. They've obviously been doing this for quite some time. They know the types of things they need and the types of things they hand out and the types of things that they don't need and don't get handed out each and every year. So, I do feel bad about this, but this is something where we are not going to fund. We're not going to pay rent for them to be somewhere. I would never approve that. I can't do it. We have too many other things that are constantly being complained about that we don't have money for, but we're spending money on this. And this is a very philanthropic situation. It's a very good thing, but I can't in good conscience say that we're going to spend tax dollars to pay for their rent.
Yeah, I just I've obviously been involved in this way back before it was, the Batavia Fire Department really started this thing back about 1954. And the toys were broken toys that were brought to the fire station, and the firemen would repair the toys. And then they had the Women's Auxiliary at the VFW make clothes for the dolls, because most of the dolls that were brought down didn't have any clothes on them. And the firemen did a lot with bicycles. And then the Batavia Rotary Club would come over 23rd or 24th of December, and they would go to the houses of people who said they didn't have any toys, and they would leave them on the front door like Santa Claus had been there. And that worked for a number of years. Well, then as things got more involved with the fire department and they continue to have a lot more calls and needing more facilities, this wasn't going to work anymore. So eventually it got moved out of the fire department and then stepped forward the Roy Bailey family. And that family has kind of been running this whole program ever since kind of the fire department left it go. In my opinion, the Baileys have done a wondrous job. I don't think they've ever been paid anything for it. It's all total volunteer. And I generally make a stop a few times while it's still being put together and see all the stuff that has been brought in. We have one of our industries out in the industrial park, I probably shouldn't name who it is, who has a lot of extra toys that they have, and they bring them over there. And so that's where all this inventory is coming from, but it's kind of overwhelmed them. And, you know, it's stuff that they may get dropped off in July and June, and suddenly they don't have any, you know, any place to put it. So it's gotten to be all the problems that we've talked about here tonight. I will tell you, though, as one who has been there on the days, generally they distribute on the 23rd, 22nd of December, so that it's all distributed by Christmas. And I will tell you, I cannot imagine the number of people I have seen that come in to get those toys and really need them. Many of them leave, specifically men and women, with tears in their eyes in appreciation for all these toys that this Batavia project has given them. So it's been a great project. I hate to just throw it out the window and say we're not going to do it anymore. But as Laura's mentioned, we've got to figure out some way to facilitate a holding pattern for it. And, you know, the next problem will probably be the day when the Baileys say that they want to retire from this, because they've been doing it now for 40 years. It's been a long time that they've been involved with this and really have kept it going. And they tell me that brings a warm Christmas to them when they get to be the ones that hand off all these toys to these people. And everybody that gets it has to prove to them that they're a Batavia resident and it's not going off to some other town or somebody's getting it and then going to try to turn around and sell it. It all goes to people who desperately and honestly need it.
Yeah, thank you. So obviously, you know, this is a tough topic. You know, I think it's one of the things where the Baileys need to really say what they want to do, right? I mean,
They have. They would like the city to continue to support them by providing them with space. And they say, you know, they only have a couple $1,000s in a bank account from money that has been donated to them to purchase toys. They have no means of paying rent or utilities for a space.
Well, then we have to help them decide, because from what I'm hearing here is that we could pay tens of thousands of dollars in rent, which quite frankly we could buy toys with, right, and give to people, or we continue the program, or does this program morph into another program, or, you know, is it bought on by somebody else? I think the answer has not been. I don't think we have enough information to get an answer together. If the space is not going to be there, the space is just not going to be there, right? So that's the challenge. We have to work with them to say, okay, do you have a transition plan? Like, you know, when are you going to retire? You know what I mean?
Ask any question you want. I have been. I meet with them several times per year, and so they don't have an idea. They don't have the wherewithal to go and get another space. So there is no transition plan. If in all likelihood, if we say we don't have a space, then they're probably done. That's the transition.
Before I pass the mic, I mean, there are many charitable programs, and the question is, is there another program out there that's willing to have this role in it? I think the sticking issue is the inventory, right? I imagine there's a formula where you can keep this program going without having to take an inventory, right?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, one of the things that the United Way has a very successful program. They work with both Chip-in and then also the resource person and within the school district, and they identify all of the students within the Batavia School District who have a need for this type of program. And so the needs of all of those families are met by United Way Adopt a Family program.
Right. So I think my point being is that, you know, in this world where we have this, viral charitable collections, and we have these almost virtual charities nowadays. Maybe there's a way to provide the same services for the same people at no charge without having to carry, tens of thousands of square feet of inventory, right?
Correct. However, the Baileys are not set up to do that. They aren't, this is their model, is to collect things. I don't think that they're interested in transitioning to a different type of toy drive.
We might have to help them. I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with this. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm chomping at the bit here. So first off, so the folks in the audience know what we're all talking about. We're talking about canceling Christmas, right? That's a very dramatic way of putting it. That's not exactly the case. That's why we're all very precious about this, right? Just so you know why we're being precious. And it's a great program. We are making efforts to assist in the shift into a formal 501c3, it sounds like, because right now it's sort of a bootstrapped, kind of just some people doing some things, kind of off the books in no formal, organized way. And it's been this Bailey family who's really stepped up and done it for
done a
years, which I
wonderful
think
job.
we're incredibly grateful for.
4 decades.
4 decades, 40 years.
Yes.
I'm 41 years old. As long as I've been alive, this family has been providing toys to children on Christmas. But now they're in a building that has an old gas or old tank, I don't know if it was gas or whatever it was. That means their building's going to fall down, and they can't stay there, and we can't pay for it, right? So I think as far as direction goes, where my mind is going is, one, if they can't stay, they can't stay. And I don't know if we have the space to house those toys. We just don't. And it puts us in the unenviable position of, very dramatically, right, hyperbole here, canceling Christmas to a certain extent. But we don't have to be sort of all in. We are trying to problem solve their problem right now, which is good. Like, it's good that we're doing that. But part of standing up a nonprofit is getting a board together, getting people who want to solve this problem to all sit down, form the board, create their committees, fundraise, and solve the problem. And I'm very dramatically looking at the audience, right? To save Christmas, we need the community to step up and become part of this new nonprofit that needs to stand up very quickly to solve a problem so that children who need toys on Christmas can get it. So I really encourage, to the best of our ability, let's help stand up that 501c3. If city resources can be directed in a responsible way, a little bit of staff time could probably go a long way in some of this. I would support that so that they can be set up for success. But then it's kind of them, right? Then they need to go out, recruit. We are city leaders. We can help point people to them if they'll have it. And that's kind of where my mind goes. Like, sorry, we can't provide the financial and real estate resources anymore. We just can't. But we can provide some of that legalese expertise to get a legitimate 501c3 set up, to get things pointed in the right direction, to convene a meeting or two of like-minded people who might want to help. That's kind of where my mind goes on this.
Yeah, I would just say I echo a lot of the sentiments. It's just, we unfortunately can't rewind the clock 35 years, where probably the Bailey family or somebody in the city who decided to step in at that time, they needed a mentor. They needed somebody to say, hey, this is how we go and set this up for long-term success. Because let's be honest, it's the city's toy drive. And as much as work as they've put in, we've kept it afloat all these years, right? Because theoretically, again, we could have bought toys and handed them out. So, and I don't want to be the canceller of Christmas, so to speak, but I think we just have to live in reality a little bit that we're reaching kind of the end of our rope, and we were kind of there if it weren't for BEI, which again, out of the kindness of the hearts of the people of the community and the Dempsey family and BEI as a whole, right, is kind of how that happened. So, now we're in this really tough spot where we kind of have to make a tough decision. But I'm with you. I don't think it would take, unless, Laura, you tell me differently, that it takes an exorbitant amount of resources to help with the 501c3. I agree with you. That's kind of the least we can do after 40 years of them trying to do something great for the community. But then I also hear Alderman Fehrenbach, and there's probably a better way to do this in today's world than inventorying all that stuff, because it just wastes away, and we kind of know things aren't made the way they used to be. And even with my kids, so I actually just took a bag out to Goodwill the other day. So it never ending. So Yeah, I echo a lot of it, but I wish we could rewind the clock.
Thought I saw a hand up out in the audience. Do you want to say something about this? Come on up to the microphone. Just give us your name so we get it for the record.
My name's Donald Cruz, longtime resident of Batavia. I work with the Kane County Toys for Tots. We have a storage unit place that donates space for us to store the toys during the summer that we get. And then we start October 1st to December getting the toys ready and distributing them. So maybe that's something they can do, is where they can get one of the storage places to donate for during the summer. And then when October comes around, they can get everything ready and pass them out to the kids. This way, it brings the costs way down. And then a lot of these local businesses that are empty donate the space from October to December, so you can organize all the toys and get them out to all the kids you're distributing them to. So this way, that's how Toys for Tots does it every year in each of the counties. Maybe the city of Batavia could do the same thing. That way, it saves you money that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Comments? And then I guess the one thing I would ask is, do we have a plan for what happens when our deadline shows up and that building comes down? Is it, I mean, are we just going to get a dumpster and put everything out in the dumpster, or how are they going to handle that? Have they been given that idea? Because I think that's reality. I mean, if we're talking about taking it down in July, that's a month and a half. So we need to think about that and really try to come up with a plan for what that's going to be. And I don't know if they've come up with any kind of plan for that, because as far as I know, I've never heard that.
Their
What they're
plan
gonna
was
do.
to move to their next space.
Yeah.
At this point. So maybe I need to have another conversation with them. Andrea, to what extent can we be flexible on our demolition plan?
Well, I have a copy of the RFP right here. We're working on finalizing that to get that out. So I know I'd have to look at the dates. I know we wanted to have seating done and restoration in October, mid-October, to be then to put that back. So we'd have to work back a little bit. I think there was a little bit of flex in there.
Let's take a look at that.
We can definitely.
And just to that end, right, sort of course, first, the more lead time they get, the better, right? But if the time comes and the toys aren't out of there, it might be worth our time to identify a Toys for Tots or United Way or some other charitable organization. You know, I'd much rather it go somewhere else than in the dumpster, right? And so if we can then begin to get the lead time, that one, make sure we're not being wasteful. It gives them as much time as possible to relocate. And it kind of gives them you better, otherwise someone else is going to get all this stuff kind of thing, right? It kind of gives them a little bit of something to work up against. So if we can put a little time into that to find out who might be interested in this stuff. They're opening a family center at Kane County, by the way. They always need toys for supervised visit rooms. Probably not as many toys as they have, but they do need to staff supervised visit rooms. So that would be a great spot.
Definitely encourage them to reach out to the new storage place, which I'm sure is not full yet.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is not full yet. That would give them good publicity for them to be able to
That could be a very
advertise.
good publicity.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we will move on to item 610, which is approval on display of flag for the pride flag to the city flagpole in June. Alderman Barron. You there?
Thanks, Alan. So yeah, this is something that council will vote on every year. There's going to be, if approved, a proclamation that will be presented next week to an organization, and then the pride flag will be raised on June 1st.
Did you have an organization, since you were the one that was going to sponsor this, that you had in mind for that? I thought that was in one of the emails.
Yes. So the organization that would be presented with the proclamation on May the 18th is Fox Valley, belong Fox Valley.
Okay, I just want to make sure we got that out there, that was. Okay, now, did you want to say anything else about it, or do we want to just open it up for discussion?
Let's go ahead and open it up for discussion.
Anybody on the council?
I'll start off. I move we approve the display of the progress flag for the city flagpole in June.
Motion, and who was second? White?
A second.
Bob beat you to it.
Speed.
Okay.
Sorry, Zoomer. Okay. Discussion on Lancey?
Yeah, I'll just say I'll remain a no vote on really any flags that we fly other than the city flags and the U.S. flag. Really any government flags. I think we've been over this quite a bit, but I'll remain a no on any flag because I think it just raises some controversy. And I want to remind the public that this council has now turned down 2 other flags that have wanted to be flown, and that would be regarding childhood cancer and regarding suicide prevention.
Yeah, I'll continue to be a yes vote. I think it signals that our community is open and welcoming, that we're identifying and recognizing groups of people and human beings who have lived in our community for time immemorial. And I think it's really important that we display that since these groups tend to be marginalized and oftentimes need that show of support in order to feel themselves and feel human and feel the dignity that we all deserve. So I'll remain a yes vote, and I'm very proud to do so.
Anything else? And anybody from the community would like to come up and address us on this issue? Come on up, use the mic. All we need is your name. If anybody else would like to speak tonight, just in order of time, since we're already past 9:15, if you want to come up and just form a little line over here, if you want to come up and speak about this. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. I've been a resident of Batavia for the past 7 years. I've attended several city council meetings recently, but I've never spoke. But tonight I felt inspired. Especially during the discussion about River Street and Batavia's future, I heard the same theme over and over, working together to move our city forward. We talked tonight about community pride, creating positive experiences, and making Batavia about a place where people want to stay. I think continuing to fly the Progress Pride flag during Pride Month reflects those values. It shows we strive to be a community where people are seen, welcomed, and valued, and that is what makes people want to be here. So if we want to keep Batavia moving forward, it cannot just be about what we build. It has to be about the kind of community we want to be, and that we choose to be, and who we choose to include in that vision. So I hope that you will continue to fly the flag. I'm so proud to be a resident of Batavia that does that. Thank you.
Can you just get your last name and due, please, just for the record?
Hatfield.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denise Theobald, and I am actually from Geneva. And, my wife and I moved here 5 years ago. And we were a little worried about it. We were worried about it because we came from the city. And what we found when we decided to settle down in Geneva was people are awesome and welcoming. And it was really, really helpful when we started getting engaged, even though we moved during COVID, that the Geneva Council had a Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Committee. And that sent us a message. And then we would drive down certain streets and we'd see a pride flag and welcoming words on signs. And then we met neighbors that were saying, what's the big deal? And we were really, really pleased with that. And then we went to various businesses in Batavia that were incredibly welcoming. And that sends a signal. So raising a flag really sends a signal for your entire city that you're welcoming. And we want to come here and we want to spend time and we want to spend money and we want to get to know the people in that community. And that's why everywhere along the Fox Valley area, anywhere we go, it's important. Just like it would if you wore a pin on your shirt of a gay pride flag. So I think it's important. It signals a lot. And I think we have to look past and know how far we've come. Because we were at a meeting this morning where people were saying, we need a flag for the nuclear family of a man, woman, and children. And I think that's great. But that's been the history of this country, the nuclear family. We've come a lot. And I thought 10 years ago, wow, we really have come far. But now we're scared. And now over 500 pieces of legislation in this country is going through the process to take away our rights. Words of our very long established marriage. And we don't want to lose that. And I think it's important that everybody look at the fact that it's a very marginalized community. We're very blessed because we live in this community and we want to stay in this community because you've been open and welcoming, and we thank you for that.
Anybody else? Okay.
Opposition tonight. So I wanted to give an opportunity for people to raise a ruckus, and they didn't. I had a speech prepared, but I guess I don't need to make it. But I do have something I did want to say. First of all, it took a lot for me to come here tonight. The last time I saw most of you, you were handing me a proclamation celebrating 14 years of public service as a do-gooder. Tonight I come in here, my body is falling apart. I've been robbed, carjacked, lost my business, lost my home, but I'm still standing. And that is a testament to the community and my resolve to fight for what's right. I made a monstrous human resources mistake in hiring two gentlemen who were homeless, who suffered from issues of addiction. And that infected my home and clouded my judgment. And in an instant, 14 years of public service went up in smoke. I don't get callbacks from hardly anybody that I used to advocate for. But despite that, I have saved the lives of 4 people over the last 2 years. And I wouldn't change a single thing that I've done. I've found that losing everything was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it helps me understand what diversity and inclusion really is. And I'm now probably someone with the best street cred around to tell you that there are people hurting. And I've experienced that hurt because of stigmatization, because of marginalization, because of people using trite language like they just don't understand what it means to be a neighbor. I thought we learned these things in school. I thought our continuing education was in our faith. And yet we're still fighting about a flag. I'm sorry, we've codified talking about a flag every year. The best example I could think of is imagine beating cancer and being in remission and being told you still got to take a blood test every year. And you're like, man, I thought we got through this. Can't we just, go on with our lives? No, we have to check it. And somehow this ordinance made this council say no to a suicide prevention flag. Okay, I'll take responsibility for that. Maybe this ordinance was wrong, and I was on this council back when it was discussed. A papal flag, all right, maybe not so much. But that's why I thought the Unity Pride flag was supposed to be the catch-all. And I've spoken at length about this. Whether you like it or not, you're on that flag. The rainbow is every color. Make no mistake, we are all on that flag together, and it stands for certain important ideals. I would challenge this council to bring it back to discussion one last time. And maybe you could talk about video gaming that night as well. I'd be happy to chime in on the mistakes I made there. But I say bring it back one more time because this ordinance is broken. If we're still talking about this, the Gen Xers and Boomers are fighting over semantics. The kids under age 30 think that we're all telling people to get off of our lawns. This existence is already here in our community, and to let people think that they're not included is a shame. It's not that radical of an idea to raise a flag like this. What is radical is to deny the existence of other people. But I can tell you, I've been ignored because I had methamphetamine in my house. More methamphetamine being sold out of my garage than furniture. Had I known that, I probably would have done something about it. But here I stand, 40 pounds overweight with all my teeth. So I hope you're listening. I have seen the hatred in this community that we pretend is not here. I've seen it in other communities. And we have an opportunity as elder statesmen or new people on this council to lead. And Your Honor, I would ask you on July 1st, as I've asked you for the last 2 years, when you met with me in the lobby because you weren't ashamed to meet with me. Thank you. That's why I have a voice tonight. Thank you for giving me my voice back. I ask you on July 1st to leave that flag up. Because together, the flag that represents the United States, the red, white, and blue, all the ideals that we stand for, it's that rainbow that makes up the people that live in this nation important. And people standing behind me, the people standing in front of me, are the reason why I'm still here. So please bring this ordinance back, repeal it. Alice, welcome to the council. I remember when you were in the audience asking for us to listen to you, and we did. I would ask that you would consider this, because I've seen the good work that you've done, and I've seen your ability to analyze things. I'm not in the third ward anymore. I couldn't afford to live in the third ward anymore. I fixed up my house and I got out as quickly as I could. And I'm rebuilding my life right now. But I'm counting on the third ward to pick this up where I can't and figure out what's broken. And my phone number is still the same. I have about $35,000 in debt that I'm still settling. Among them, Alderman Solfa, I owe you a telephone call. I will make good on my debts. And to anyone else out there that wonders what it's like to be a small business owner, yeah, it's tough. And anything you can do to make Batavia more business friendly, the better. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Barrows. I was at the Sturdy Shelter Communities discussion, not yesterday, but the previous Sunday, in which it was a panel discussion and a chance to talk with people within the LGBTQ community. I was speaking to a young trans man who said that when he saw the flag, the pride flag, stickers, anything like that, he felt a measure of safety. And I had never thought of it that way. So, thank you.
Anybody else? Have any, Jen, go ahead.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you to all the speakers that came out tonight to speak and express, your thoughts on this. As the policy states, this is expression of the city official sentiments. And I go back and look at what our values are. And, what really resonates with me is the fact that we did select to have diversity as one of our values as a council and for our community. And that is to provide a sense of belonging for all people with all backgrounds and ages where they can live and thrive. And I do believe that this flag is a symbol of that. And that is why it's so important every year to have this flag raised in celebration of that. So thank you. And I look forward to June 1st when the flag is raised on our pole. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. If we could do roll call.
Barraza, Lancy,
No.
Beck, Malay,
Aye.
Malone,
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
There was aye.
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman, Lohman, aye. Pieper, Fehrenbach,
Aye.
Anderson, and White.
Aye.
2, 4, 6, 7, 8 to 1.
That'll be on our next city council agenda on next Monday night. And then on June 1st, if that passes at council, the flag will be raised. Okay, we will then move on to our city council updates. 7.1 is project status. Laura.
Yes, thank you to Alderperson Lohman for reminding everyone that Saturday at the farmer's market will be meet and greet your city council members, and they may have some sweet treats to provide to you. So please stop by and take an opportunity to get to know who represents you in your ward and citywide. Also wanted to share that the Kane County Division of Transportation is having a public information meeting about the intersection of Fabian Parkway and Route 31. And I've got some information on that here. It's going to be on May 20th from 5:30 to 7 o'clock p.m. And it's going to be held in an open house format. So there is, you can arrive anytime between 5:30 and 7 o'clock p.m. And there will be project exhibits that are on display, and members of the project team will be available to answer any questions that you have. You can also submit comments and questions through June 26th by email at fabianil31intersection@hrgreen.com. And you can also learn more about the Fabian Parkway project at that website. That's fabianil31intersection.com.
Where is the meeting?
And the meeting, thank you, is going to be held at Covenant Living at the Homestead in the Commons Building Auditorium at 700 West Fabian Parkway. This is the building that faces Fabian Parkway, not the other building that faces Route 31. And again, May 20th, 2026, from 5:30 to 7 o'clock p.m. A couple other things to share with you. Two new electric crew leaders started with our electric utility in their new roles. It was actually promotions from within. Both Gary Starman and Joe Hinterlong were promoted to electric crew leaders. And we also have extended offers for 3 apprentice lineman roles. So hopefully if they accept those offers, we will be announcing their names soon. Jason Lakander, who is with our water department for 31 years, retired last week. He said that he has had a wonderful career here with the city of Batavia, but he was over getting up in the middle of the night when it's 7 degrees below zero to fix a water main break. You come to the point where that isn't as fun as it used to be. So, no, we wish Jason very well in his retirement. He truly has so much to be proud of for the contributions that he made. And he's just one of those kind of unsung heroes here in the city of Batavia who, we take for granted that we've got this wonderful water that we have access to on a consistent basis. And it's because of him and the other guys on the water team. And then.
He's a great guy. I've known him since first grade.
Yeah, yeah. So.
You're not retired.
And last but not least, an important rescue was made today by Officer Schultz, who saved a dozen ducklings who had accidentally gone down a storm drain. So kudos to Officer Schultz for performing this. Half a dozen. A dozen's better.
With the telling.
Who knows? They move around fast.
Do we not have video of it? 20 body camera video?
I know. Do we have body camera video of it?
We do. I did post some photos on our Facebook page
All right.
of the rescue efforts.
All
so
right.
they're
Check
out there
out the
for the public to see. If I can just jump into one thing I wanted to mention is coming up on Friday, we're going to have officers out at both Dunkin' Donuts locations in Batavia, raising funds and awareness for Special Olympics for the annual Cop on Top event. So anybody interested, please come on out and support Special Olympics.
Thank you. And that's all I have. Great.
All right, does anybody have any questions or any other business? If not, we need the dreaded motion to go into executive session.
Second.
For property acquisition. Right? Okay.
Purchase of real estate.
Purchase of real estate. So we have motion and a second. I just want to make sure. It's getting late. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.